Welcome to Basic Embedded Systems Training. Today, embedded systems plays major roles in all areas. For example, medical electronics, a remote automation, industrial controls, automotive electronics, aerospace, military, telecom, automation, consumer electronics. All areas uses embedded systems. Sir, what is the advantages when compared to general purpose system? For example, getting 90 marks in 6 subjects, it is somewhat difficult. But if you concentrate on one particular subject, you can easily get 90 marks. So it is this that indicates that if you concentrate on particular task, the automatically accuracy increases. So that is the main concept of embedded systems. That is the major difference between general purpose systems and embedded systems. General purpose system can perform lot of operations, but in terms of accuracy, somewhat less when compared to embedded systems. Because embedded system is dedicated system, which is dedicated to only one particular task, which keep on concentrate on one particular task so that it gives more accuracy when compared to general purpose systems. So that's why embedded systems plays major role in all areas. So before going to start this embedded systems training, what is an embedded system? And what are the controllers or processors or elements or components required to implement any embedded system? So that we will complete. The first one, embedded system. Already discussed that embedded system, it is a dedicated system that indicates that one processor is embedded into that particular application, which uses either microprocessor or microcontroller. Only one particular task is performed because of one application software that is typically born into ROM. So, and one more definition for embedded system is it is a collection of hardware and software. So here, software indicates that to perform, to run that embedded system, we required instructions, we required program, because which uses microprocessor or microcontroller. These are the programmable ICs. For example, if car with driver or driver without driver, called as a driverless car. If driverless car, so no need to driver. So based on already given instruction that can be drive. If you purchase with the driver option car, so for that one compulsory we require driver. So without driver, that vehicle cannot move from one place to another place. Here also same, whatever the embedded systems that uses microprocessor or microcontroller, These processors or controllers are programmable ICs. So we already known some ICs like non-programmable ICs, op-amp 741, 555 timer. These are the non-programmable ICs. These microprocessors and microcontrollers are programmable ICs. So that we required program. Without program, embedded system cannot perform, cannot run. So the definition for embedded system is it is a collection of hardware and software with few electromechanical elements used to perform one particular task. And what are the necessary tools for any microprocessor or microcontroller? We know that embedded systems cannot perform any task without microprocessor, microcontroller. So that microprocessor or microcontroller plays major role in embedded system. So that what are the necessary tools for any microprocessor or microcontroller? The first one is CPU, Central Processing Unit, which cannot perform, which cannot control any operation, which perform operations based on given inputs. So Central Processing Unit internal uses ALU and with few registers. With the help of this ALU and few registers, which performs some operations based on given inputs. And second one is memory. We know that memories can be divided into two types. One is RAM and second one is ROM. RAM indicates that random access memory, also called as a temporary memory. ROM indicates that read-only memory, also called as a permanent memory. Whatever the program we are going to write for any embedded systems, that program is loaded into ROM because it is permanent. And that program is executed in RAM. So from this, we got 2 points. Program is saved in ROM and executed in RAM. And next one is buses. Sir, what is the need of buses? CPU is there, RAM is there, ROM is there, and remaining peripherals are there. All these peripherals are internally connected with the help of these buses. And next one is what type of buses we required. So to get any information from memory, to get any information from one memory location, we required three types of buses. One is address bus that points to the address of that particular memory location. And second one is data bus, which is used to carry that data available on that particular memory location. And third one is control bus, so which decides the whether it is a read operation or write operation. If it is memory, the terminology is read operation or write operation. If it is I/O devices, terminologies are input and output. If it is communication, the terminology is transmitting or receiving. This direction is decided by control bus. So we require three types of buses. One is address bus, second one is data bus, third one is control bus. And next one is I/O devices, input output devices, input output IOs. So to interact microprocessor with external world, like we need some temperature value. We need temperature value. So that temperature value is readed with the help of sensor. How this sensor is connected with the microprocessor or microcontroller with the help of these IOs only. So that we required IO, input or output. Assume that based on that receiving temperature, we need to control on and off of any one particular device like fan or AC or motor or some others. So here the IOs is used to interact with external world. And next one is timers or counters. Sir, what is the need of timers? To perform any operation by CPU, it requires some time. So we need to wait some time for next action so that that time can be generated. That time is also called as here delay, is generated by using software or hardware. If you use software, so you can generate some delay called as unknown delay. For example, if you take for loop for I equal to 0, I is less than or equal to 100, comma, I plus plus. In that case, that loop is executed 100 times. You don't know what's the time required for every one loop. The finally 100 times it will executed. So amount of time is you cannot calculate exactly. So that we need exact time calculation in few real-time applications. In that cases, we selected timers or counters. Timers, which counts number of clock pulses generated by the oscillator. Assume that if one oscillator generates square wave with 1 megahertz frequency, then time period is 1 by 1 megahertz frequency, that is called as 1 microsecond. If you count 100 clock pulses, then automatically 100 into 1 microseconds, that gives 100 microseconds. Exact delays can be performed by using timers. And what about counters, sir? Which is used to count number of events occurs on one particular pin or particular external signal. And next one is serial communication port or parallel communication. So this microcontroller can communicate with another microcontroller. This processor can communicate with another processor. In that cases, we are using either parallel communication or serial communication. So in serial communication, we uses few wires, whereas in parallel communication, we are using more number of wires. When compared to serial communication, parallel communication is very fast, serial communication is very slow. But the drawback in parallel communication is if any one wire breaks, there is no error detection mechanism and error correction mechanism in parallel communications. Whereas in serial communication, if any one wire, that may be the transmitting or receiving wire, breaks, then automatically which can easily recognize. Otherwise, if any one bit changes from 1 to 0 or 0 to 1, then automatically that can be recognized by using error detection methods and also corrected by using error correction methods. But parallel communication is fast when compared to serial communication. So parallel communication cost also high because which uses more number of wires. Serial communication cost is less. Then where we are using parallel communication? For short distances, we are using parallel communication. Sir, short distance means is it meters or kilometers or some others? It is not in meters or kilometers or some others. Parallel communication uses in within the board only. Within the board. Assume that your mobile phone is one device. Within that device, you can use parallel communication because everything is enveloped, packed, so that there is no chances to break the wire, breaking of wires. And next one, sir, embedded system, it is a dedicated system which cannot perform multitask. Is there any chance to perform more number of tasks like memory, IO, timers, communication? So that which uses internal one more concept called as a interrupt mechanism. By using this interrupt mechanism, you can perform more number of tasks. So these are the necessary tools for any microprocessor or microcontroller. Sir, what is microprocessors? We know that in embedded systems, you can use either microprocessor or microcontroller. Depends on your application, depends on your requirements. You can select either microprocessor or microcontroller. Before going to select that microprocessor or microcontroller, we need some idea about microprocessors and microcontrollers. So the first one is microprocessor. Name itself, it is general purpose microprocessor. General purpose microprocessor. Microprocessor is also called as a CPU. So whatever the necessary tools we discussed in last slide, in that necessary tools, microprocessor is only one CPU, which performs 3 operations: fetch, decode, execute. There is no, in microprocessor, there is no internal RAM, no internal ROM, IOs are not there, communication ports, communications also, serial or parallel communications also not there. For example, Intel's family 8086 microprocessor, Motorola's 680 families. All these are the examples for microprocessors. Then what is the advantages in microprocessor? If you select a microprocessor in a embedded system implementation, then what is the advantages? There is no inbuilt RAM or ROM or IO or timers or serial communication ports, so that you can add externally. There is no limitation for RAM and ROM or IO timers serial communication. Okay, but based on your processor, some limitation is there. Okay, so whatever the collection of all these peripherals, memory, and this CPU, all these are placed into one single board, because without these components we cannot perform any task, because these are the necessary tools for any processor or controller, but processor does not having inbuilt, so that it is connected external. All these are placed in one particular one board, one single board. So it is also called as a single board computer. Next one is microcontroller. Whatever the necessary tools required for any processor or controller, all that tools or components are available in one single IC. So we can call it is a mini computer, small computer, single chip computer, because everything is available. That are the necessary tools for any processor or controller or computers. So examples for these microcontrollers are, if you select Motorola's family 6811, Intel's 8051, Xilinx Z8, and PIC microcontroller 16 series. All these are examples for microcontrollers. And what are the drawbacks when compared to microprocessor? Everything is available on single IC, so that everything is limited. Next, so what is the major difference between microprocessor and microcontroller? Microprocessor, it is only CPU. There is no RAM, ROM, IO timers. All these are connected external. Whereas in microcontroller, CPU, RAM, ROM, IO timers, all are available on one single chip. And next, whereas in microprocessor, so designer can decide the amount of RAM on ROM and IOs. But whereas in microcontroller, fixed amount of on-chip ROM, RAM, IO ports. So microprocessors is expensive and microcontroller is cost is very less. Microprocessor is general purpose. Microcontroller is single purpose. These are the major difference between microprocessors and microcontrollers. And what types of microcontrollers are available? Okay. So these types of microcontrollers are classified into different types based on their bits, manufacturing, memory devices, families, instruction set, memory architecture. Okay, sir, first based on bits, these microcontrollers can be divided into 8-bit microcontroller, 16-bit microcontroller, 32-bit microcontroller, 64-bit microcontroller, 128-bit microcontrollers also in future. And second classification based on IC, It is normal IC chip. It is a very large scale integrated core IC. Based on memory devices, if inbuilt memory is there, then embedded. External memory, based on external memory, it is classified into external memory. And based on families, 8051, Motorola, PIC, Hitachi, Texas, ARM, and others. If you take 8051, that is again provided by so many vendors like Intel, Philips, Atmel, Siemens, Delos. And one more classification based on instruction set. So if it is a complex instruction set of computer, that indicates that more number of instructions are available. To perform each and every operation, there exists one internal hardware and one internal instruction. So it is called as a complex instruction set of computer. Here, RISC, reduced instruction set of computers. To perform more number of operations, here less number of units are there, less number of instructions are there. So it is called as a reduced instruction set of computer. And based on memory architecture also divided into two classification. One is called as a Harvard architecture. Second one is called as a Princeton architecture or Von Neumann architecture. So these are the types of microcontrollers available based on bits, based on architecture size, based on instruction size, based on IC indicates number of transistors, and based on memory, based on families. So that is introduction about embedded systems. And basic training, we complete 8051 microcontroller. For any embedded systems, if you learn 8051 as basics, if you start from 8051 basics, so that will gives more confident to learn any processor or any controller. So that's why in this basic training, we complete, so we are going to complete 8051 microcontroller. And the major problem in embedded training is embedded training institutes faces one problem, that is to learn embedded systems, to train embedded system, we required hardware. So without hardware, we cannot learn, we cannot train to the students. That is the one problem. So that's why online embedded training classes are not available in market. The remaining softwares like C, CPP, Java, Python, everything is online available. Now, we resolve that problem with Proteus software. So with the help of Proteus software, you can design your embedded system. Whatever the program we are going to burn in that particular embedded system, that program is written in Kill software and verify the internal behavior of that program. If it is okay, then converted into hexa file. That hexa file is downloaded into Proteus software. So To write this program, we required one language, one or two languages. So initially we start with assembly language. After we complete embedded C language also. So in this basic training, we complete 18051 microcontroller, Keel software with assembly language program and embedded C program and one Proteus. So that's Alma. Thank you. We'll meet in date.